Hello, and thank you for participating in our VR game-based rehabilitation study. This video is a tutorial on how to boot up the game, play the game, and close the game. Feel free to pause the video at any time or go back to any part you did not understand. Before starting the game, set up a stationary chair, preferably with arms, in an open area where your arms have full range of motion and won't bump into anything. Try not to change this setup in between sessions, as it will be your VR game training area. Now that your VR game training area is set up, it is time to learn how to boot up the game. The first thing you need to do is make sure your headset has battery life. If it doesn't turn on, charge the device for a while, then turn on the headset. If your headset is charged, turn it on and you'll be brought to the Oculus starting hub. Prior to reaching the starting hub, if this is your first time turning on the headset in a new space, Oculus will ask you to set up the Guardian boundary. This task is easiest to complete with a controller, however, it is more than possible to set up without one. The first thing it will prompt you to do is touch the floor with a controller in hand. A digital boundary should follow your hand and controller to the ground during this action. Once you've completed this task, hit confirm. After hitting confirm, you will be asked to draw a room scale boundary. Instead of this, select switch to a stationary boundary, as this is designed for using the Oculus while sitting. After making this switch, Oculus will ask you to confirm the boundary. The blue circle on the ground is the boundary limits. Please look at your surroundings and double check that there are no obstructions inside the Guardian boundary or just outside of it in case you have a long reach. Once this is done, confirm to finalize the Guardian boundary. If at any point you're having issues with the game or there are complications with the Guardian boundary, you can reset the Guardian boundary by doing the following steps. First, use the controller to press the section of the hotbar in the starting hub with the clock on it. It will open a window with an option called Boundary. Select it, then press the stationary option. Now, select Switch to Room Scale Boundary, then press the back arrow. Now press Redo. To finish setting up the boundary, do the same steps you took to set up the Guardian for the first time. If you forgot what those steps are, please rewind the video to the beginning of this section. Now that you've turned on your headset and put it on, you will be placed in the Oculus starting area. To use items and apps in this area, you use your hands. To select an item, you bring your index and your thumb together to make a click. This will act as a select or interact button. To get to the game, select the apps icon, hit search apps, hit all, scroll down to unknown sources, select it, then you will see Rehab VR game. Once you see this, click it to enter the game. Now that you have loaded up the game, you will appear in its starting room. The first thing you should look for are your virtual hands. You will notice that when you open your hands, they light up. When your hands are lit, it means they can interact with an object. Your hands need to be lit to grab objects, press buttons, and touch other interactable objects. In this room, you will see a scoreboard directly in front and above you. This board will show you your daily best score and your high score for its respective games. This board also shows you how long you've been playing every day, so you can keep track of how long you need to play for a session. Below the scoreboard, you'll see a table with 4 buttons labeled Gift Game, Food Game, Drink Game, and Balloon Game. These buttons will teleport you to the individually labeled games that you will play as a part of this study. To use these buttons, press them with the palm of your hand when it is lit. The first game I will show you is a balloon game. After you press its respective button, you will get teleported to the game area. Once in this area, you'll be prompted to grab 2 cylinders. Doing this will calibrate your hands, change the printed text to the game's instructions, and start a countdown to begin the game. Once the countdown ends, the game will begin. In this game, balloons will fly up from the floor, and it is your job to pop them. To pop the balloons, you need only touch them with your hands. You will have 1 minute to pop as many balloons as you can. For this game and every other game, you may get different points by using different arms. On top of the background noises, Random words of encouragement will pop up and be read to you to encourage you to continue aiming for new records. If you beat your daily score, fireworks will shoot off to celebrate your new record. If you beat your high score, more visual displays will be added to the fireworks. Once the game ends, you will be teleported back to the starting room so that you can look at your new records and choose the next game you want to play. Now that we are back in the starting room, let's jump into our next game, which will be the drink game. After you press its respective button, you will get teleported to the game area. Once in this area, you'll be prompted to grab 2 cylinders. Doing this will calibrate your hands, change the printed text to the game's instructions, and start a countdown to begin the game. Once the countdown ends, the game will begin. The goal of this game is to grab the food and drinks in front of you and bring them to your mouth. To grab an item, your hand must be lit up when it touches it. After this, touch the item with your palm, then grab onto it. You can hold one food or drink item in each hand at a time. Just like the balloon game, you may get different points by using different arms. Breaking your daily record will cause firework displays, and breaking your high score will add other visual effects to said display. This game also has notes of encouragement that get read when you're doing a good job. When the game ends, you'll be teleported back to the starting room to choose another game. The next game I'll explain is the food game. After you press its respective button, you will get teleported to the game area. Once in this area, you'll be prompted to grab 2 cylinders. Doing this will calibrate your hands, change the printed text to the game's instructions, and start a countdown to begin the game. Once the countdown ends, the game will begin. To play this game, you must pass the desired food items to the characters on your sides. Only one character will appear at a time, and they will ask for food directly. To see what type of food they want, you must look at their thought bubble. After choosing the food you are going to give them, using your palm, touch the item while your hand is lit, then grab it to pick it up. Once this is done, to pass the food item to the characters, you must move it into their head or body, then release your grasp. You can only give them 1 food item per request. If you hand them the wrong food item, their bodies will jolt and you'll have another attempt to hand them the correct food. You'll have 1 minute to pass on as much food as possible. Just like the 2 prior games, fireworks will go off if you break your daily record, more visual effects will be added if you break your high score, and you may get different points by using different arms. When the game ends, you will be teleported back to the starting room to choose another game. The final game in the study is the gift game. After you press its respective button, you will get teleported to the game area. Once in this area, you will be prompted to grab 2 cylinders. Doing this will calibrate your hands, change the printed text to the game's instructions, and start a countdown to begin the game. Once the countdown ends, the game will begin. To complete this game, you must grab the gifts and put them into the box. To grab a gift, you must touch one with the palm of your hand while it is lit. Once this is achieved, grab onto the gift. Now that the gift is in hand, put it in the box to get your points. Just like the prior games, fireworks will go off if you break your daily record, more visual effects will be added if you break your high score, and you may get different points by using different arms. When the game ends, you will be teleported back to the starting room to choose another game. Now that the games have been explained, it is time to talk about how to exit the game once you've completed a session. You'll know a session is ended because the timer in the starting area has turned blue. Once the timer in the starting area has turned blue, exit the game at your earliest convenience by doing the following steps. First, flip your right hand palm side up. This should show you an Oculus logo in between your thumb and index finger. If you don't see it, open your hand more. Once the logo appears, press your index finger and your thumb together to select it. This will bring up a window saying Rehab VR Game. Under this title, you will see the buttons for Resume and Quit. To exit the game and complete the session, press the Quit button using the same selection method that you did at the start of the game. Once you press Quit, you will be brought back to the Oculus starting hub. Once you're here, take off your headset, turn it off, and you'll have completed your session fully. Now that entering a game, playing the games, and exiting the game have been described, remember, after your sessions and when you're not using it, charge the headset and try and keep it in your VR training area. Thank you again for participating in our VR game-based rehabilitation study. If you have any questions during the study or any problems arise, please contact us and we will be able to assist you in any way you may need. Again, thank you so much and please enjoy playing the game.